Hello everyone, and today is technically my first video. I am Nemesis Viper, a competitive Super Smash Bros. Player and a Godzilla fan and just a fan of fighting games in general, if I'm going to be honest with you. Today, I decided to do a Godzilla Save the Earth tier list, which, is one of my personal favorite games. And I have competed in it for G-Fest last year. If I remember correctly, I got top 8 with Solo Megaguirus, which love Megaguirus. Great character in-game, and I'm a fan of the movie, okay? I like the movie. I know a lot of people don't, but I like the movie, okay? Anyway, enough of me talking about that. Yeah, so today we're tier listing it. I'm gonna just tier it and then I'll try to make it a bit more ordered for you all. I definitely think that I'm going to be wrong with some of these listings. Not necessarily because I think I'm wrong at the moment, but because even though this game has been out for, a little over 20 years, if I'm remembering correctly, it's very underdeveloped, as a competitive game, and I would like to change that hopefully one day. I don't know exactly how, but I think it would be really cool to get a competitive thing going. But, so because of that, I think there are some characters that just, I don't know, like, as much as I could, because, I've never really seen anyone play said characters. But anyway, I'm going to try my best to rank them, give an explanation, and all that good stuff, You know how the tier lists go. So I'm going to go from the bottom up. I'm going to at least try to. And so I think the worst character, and I don't like this either. I don't like this either. I think it's got to be Jet Jaguar. For the record, I don't think anyone's D tier because I think any character is usable. I don't know if I would say viable, but definitely usable. And I think D tier's for like joke characters, and I don't think Jet Jaguar is joke character material, if that makes sense. But I don't think he's very good. So one of my main reasons for that is because, his base form is fine. It's nothing to rant about. It has the laser. I guess all of them have the laser except for the small version. Well, the big one does, the middle one does, the small one doesn't. But the laser, is decent. It's not great though at the same time. Just for the reason of like, if you hit it, it's decent. But, it can also be very easily beaten in some matchups with characters with the longer ranged beams, which is most of the characters in the game, which can just probably hit it before you even shoot it. I mean, I guess it could be used in Vantage State when your opponent's on the ground. So yeah, it's decent. Just depends on the situation and matchup. But his normal form, it just doesn't have much like attack wise. Like I think it's supposed to be some kind of like hit and run, if the best way to say it, kind of character, because he has a really decent jump. Like his jump really helps with his mobility, just the reason of it's just so lagless comparing to other ones. I mean, other kids do have pretty good jumps, but Jet Jaguar is one of the ones that has it. He also has a move where like he jumps and then he'll hit the person under him. It's alright, I guess. I think I mentioned this one specifically just for, it helps with his hit and run kind of playstyle, I would say, ish. Because, he could try to get a hit in, maybe use that to get over him, to counter, like, any ideas they would have, like, to get them off guard as a mix-up is what I mean. But not used too much because it, doesn't have a lot of hits none, if I'm thinking right, and some characters could probably punish that, so it's more of a mix-up. But it could be a decent one, especially in certain matchups. Especially with characters that don't really use their tail, so they don't have that immediate move, oh, I could hit you when you're behind me. But I still think the normal form is not great, but it's probably, it is actually the one you're going to be in the most. Not necessarily because, the energy thing, where, when you run out of energy, you go back in from when you're using the big form. When you get full energy, when you're in the small form, you turn back. But because of, when you grab them, when they're in the bigger small form, you go back to the normal form. And that is one of the main problems with this character. Because, like, when he's bigger, unlike the regular form or the smaller form, you could actually get some combos. Like, I've never really seen combos in the small or the regular size form. But in the bigger form, you got some good, confirms and all that. But it's so slow. He's so slow that you can just run away from him. I mean, sure, I guess you could try to laser you, but I'm not taking energy, so it won't be big as long. And then, if you get hit, if the Jet Jaguar in the big form gets hit, he'll fall, and then it'll bring everyone rising up, which that's pretty good. This form also has probably the best, zoning, with, the longer range on the attacks, and also has that, like, ground pound that shoots them up if they're in the right area. But, just because of how slow everything is, most characters could just run up, grab, and then, like, zoners could just shoot him with a projectile. I don't know. I don't see a decent time when you could really use that. You could try, I think it could have its moments, but I don't think there's really a point in time where, oh, you should do this. It's just a thing you could do. Now, the smaller form actually has a use. It's very good in matchups against zoners, mainly, Mogira, characters like that use a lot of projectiles for the reason, as you probably know, it shoots off. The lasers will bounce off Jet Jaguar when he's smaller, so it could allow him to get in. So that one actually is pretty decent and can help him in those matchups. Especially because of how important matchups are in this game. Not just because of the weaknesses and strengths, but also because, unless they change it next year, at G-Fest, at least last year, you are not allowed to change characters for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it was part of the rules. I didn't make them. But you can't change your monster after you pick them for the first time for the round one. I don't know why. I don't know if people actually, listen to this rule. I don't know. Probably should have asked that. maybe this year. If I'm hoping they will go again. Anyway, but yeah, so matchups very important. I think Jet Jaguar's matchups, like I said, can go decent with zoners. Everything else is probably not great for him. But yeah, so he has, with being able to bounce off, lasers and beams and, that, some decent moves. Not a lot, but a decent amount of things he has that I've mentioned. I think keep him from D tier, but definitely not good. If I see someone do well with him and shows me some light that I don't know, maybe he could go to, like, top of low tier to me, bottom of, mid tier hypothetically, but right now I just think he has to be the worst character, unfortunately, because I really hate that he is the worst character in my mind, because I love Jet Jaguar. But oh well. Next character, for second worst, I really thought about this one, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. The two that I was going through, it was Rodan and Mothra. Now, before I make that decision, I'm just gonna go over them a little bit. My problem with Rodan is that back in Destroy All Monsters, he had actually decent damage output. So, he still, took the most damage out of everyone, but he had the decent damage output, which, so he was kind of like a glass cannon. This game, they took out that, and now he's just all speed with low health and not great damage. And the only thing you can do, like, honestly, Rodans can probably go for timeout. That's a thing that I definitely can see Rodans doing. It's probably the strat you should do if you want to play Rodan competitively, unfortunately. There's another character that you should probably do that with, which I will get to later. You'll probably guess who it is if you played this game a lot, but that's a later. Rodan can do this, but to an extent, he has to have energy to fly, which is his way of doing this, by the way, because that's his speed. But the problem with that is, like I said, he takes so much damage from that thing because his health pool is so low that it can be hard for him to have that lead. He has the flame burst in air that can help with that, but it can be hard for him to keep that lead, honestly, and get that, the hits, because if he messes up one time, he's taking a lot more damage. Mothra, like, before I go to Mothra, sorry. The thing that keeps Rodan from being the worst is his campy capabilities, for the record. Like, he also does have the dash, like, the running up and trying to hit someone. Which, those can be decent for, like, burst options. But, I don't know, they're kind of reactable. They're very, they're very reactable. But you could probably get something out of it. Maybe as like a tech chase, Smash Bros. Terms, because I play Smash Bros. Like I said, but like a tech chase, like when you chase them on the ground, and then you hit them before they get up. But it's just not that good, other than hypothetically that, unfortunately. So, and then we go to Mothra, which I'm also thinking about putting in there, because Mothra has 2 health bars. It's good, but, with that you get bad characters. The larva cannot shield. The larva cannot grab. So, the triangle for fighting games, attack beats, grab, and grab beats shield and all that, doesn't really apply to the larva because the larva can't do 2 of those things. The only thing the larva has are, like, beat blocks and everything, when they, like, their way of having block, like, their block is like when they go down on the floor. Like when they go down on the floor, and then they have that more protection where they can't be knocked as much and everything. But that's not enough, because when you're attacking, you're gonna go into the sitting up form anyway. So you don't have that instant option to go down, like to block, like everyone else does in the game. Also, you're still gonna take a lot more damage. And then, of course, not being able to, grab more, is hypothetically even worse in a way, because, you can't beat block. You have the stun. You have the stun to try to beat it, but people can read it, and then they could just jump. And sure, they're on the floor now, but because the larva is so slow, they're probably not going to get anything off it. And then once you waste those energy, they could just shield forever if you want to stay in the larva form longer. And then what? I guess you could try to, mess them up with, like, going for a low move, but they have a high block. I don't know. It's not great. But when you turn into the moth, I don't know if it's better, if I'm gonna be honest. I think it might be worse. Just for the reason of, you can block, you could shield and everything, but you don't really have anything. I mean, you have the move where you stun people, which is pretty good, but, that takes a lot of energy. But, and then some weird poison, and all that. Like, and poison actually kind of decent. Because a lot of people, like, a lot of characters are weak to poison. But it's so situational, that poison. So I feel like, Mothra was supposed to be like this technical character, but really isn't. Well, is, but the technical stuff she has are bad. Also, do I have to mention she's weak to fire? That's not good. For like the Baragon matchup, like she gets murdered by Baragon, just horrendously. And then of course, Rodan also destroys her because of the fire, and those are terrible matchups. Because of that. I mean, she does have also like a block, like to block in upcoming, like, beams. If that shot back, that would kind of be cool, but it doesn't. It just kind of goes off to the side. And it takes a lot of energy too, so not great. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to put Rodan at second worst, though, just for the reason of, Mothra having the second health bar being pretty good. Oh yeah, Mothra and the other flying characters, and not like flying like this, but like always flying, like basically I guess just Mega Gears as well. Yeah, just Mothra Mega Gears. They have the best disadvantage state in the game. The best in the game, because they don't roll, they just get up and fly away. So, yeah, that's really good. So definitely can get out of situations a lot easier because of that. And yeah, so I think with that being said, who is number 4? And again, I think I was split. A little less split, but split for a minute between, Anguirus and Megalon. But I'm definitely doing Megalon here. Yeah, probably here. Megalon to me is a character that was supposed to be, based on the Napalm Bomb, I believe, the name is. That's like the main gimmick. And it can be good, but it's very easy to dodge, kind of, like, But if you get, just because you could just, you see it coming, you could dodge. It's not the easiest thing to get out of, like to dodge, but it's pretty dodgeable. It's pretty dodgeable, unfortunately. But if you do get stuck in it, it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, if I'm going to be honest. Unless you don't shield it. If you don't shield it, then, you're just going to be damaged a lot because you're in the burnt foot, the hurt foot, stub animation. But if you block it, it's basically rock, paper, scissors, where the Megalon is going to either grab, maybe shoot another one, which you can do, laser, well, that's for another thing, the laser, and then, or try to read your jump. So you have the option of, unless he's trying to laser, you just gotta take it. But the two things you do have, if they try to go and grab you, or hit you from above with one of their aerial attacks, mainly the stomp move, which is, by the way, really, really good, especially when, like, advantage, because, you could just, you got back up, stomp you back down. especially in characters with really bad disadvantages like Godzillas and all that. Because, they only have the twirl, like with the tail twirl as their get-up attack, and that you can kind of just jump over it. Not great. But, he has that as well. So his advantage stays really good. It's just that, you got to get these hits in. But once he does, he can keep you in that fire for a decent amount of time if you mess up, because you can just laser you a bit, shoot another one, just keep you in this little bit of a loop in a way, because you can't move, you can only shield and jump. So he's got to hit that, and that can be hard to do. Also, he doesn't know. It's not like he has a lot of damage. It's not like he has combos. It's all based around the bomb, the napalm bomb. And yeah, I don't know how good I could say it is. His grab is also pretty good. The one where he puts you at the ground and then drills you, because you can then just go back on the ground, and then you have this tech chase situation. That's also pretty good. Yeah, he has those good things, but then there's the culprit. He is weak to attacks. Technically, physical attacks and all that. That is a serious problem. Because if you are weak to the blunt attack, specifically, not sharp, he's blunt, that is not good. As I just said, I don't know why I said it twice, but it's not good because, it makes your health pool smaller, technically, because everyone's gonna use blunt attacks. Not everyone's gonna have other weaknesses, but everyone's gonna have blunt attacks. Some might use them less than others, but that is the worst. That and sharp attacks are the worst weaknesses to have, and they gave it a Megalon, unfortunately. But I don't think he's as bad as other people say. I think he's the tier. And now I think we're done with C tier. No, I'm gonna put Megalon B tier. Right? Yeah, I'm gonna put him B tier. Because I think he can actually get some stuff when he gets going. Yeah. But anyway, now that we're in B tier, not C tier, B tier. I'm gonna put in Gears, as I said before. Over there. In Gears, so his defenses really good. I think that comes to no surprise that his defenses are really good. But he cannot do offensive play at all. Why? Because his attacks he just doesn't have any attacks for it. Also, his mobility is terrible. Like, his jump, after he jumps, he does this weird bite. Like, because he does that weird bite, it's a long animation, and so jumping isn't great. So it's not as bad as regular King Ghidorah, but it's not great. So he just, he has the back, the spiky back, which that's really good. And it kind of makes him, a whiff punish character. But he doesn't have the damage afterward, It's like he's whiff punish, but, he doesn't have the damage to attack after the whiff punish as much. So, yeah, so low damage, high defense, and low offense. Basically, he's just all defense, and that's it. And that works for Anguirus, sounds like, honestly, like as a character, as a monster, but it really can make him, easy to camp out. Also, like if he just wants to put his back to you, he can't really do that because you can just grab him. He does have the move where he pushes back and hits you. But, still, you can just grab him, and then that kind of ruins with his whole game plan, unfortunately. He also does have his special move where he can spin really fast. It's good to get away, but you want people close to you, and it's not good to get in because of how much lag it has. If it had less lag, it would have actually helped him, and actually could have brought him up some tiers, but because of that lag, it's definitely supposed to be an offensive move, but it's not the best at it, unfortunately. So I gotta put him here. Like, he's not bad. Not bad. He's not great. And then, if he had a more zoning move, like for his laser, like a laser instead of his Sonic Roar, which the Sonic Roar is good. Don't get me wrong. It's not gonna a character that needed the laser to do some pressure when someone's trying to camp them. So I have to put him here. Alright. Next up is a very, very controversial one. I don't think regular Ghidorah's good. Well, not bad, but like mid-tier. I think he's mid-tier. A lot of people put him S-tier, A-tier. I don't see it because of how slow he is, how slow his moves are, and all that other stuff. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. Because, he has some, like confirms he could try and do, but he's slow. His jump is basically the worst of the game because it's so slow. Like, again, it's kind of like Anguirus, but if Anguirus had did not have defenses, but it was really slow, instead of defense more super armor, well, it was even slower, but then had the offensive moves with the lasers. Like, he has the laser, and that's kind of the one thing that keeps him higher than Anguirus. That's kind of it, unfortunately. For him, I don't know. I don't have much to say. He's just, he has the good damage when you let him, but you gotta let him, and that can be hard to do. I forgot to rank another low tier character that I think is low tier, and that's Gigan. I was talking about how I think Jet Jaguar is the worst, but yeah, I think he still is, but Gigan's second worst. I'm sorry that I forgot about him. You're probably asking me why. Well, here's why. Gigan... How do I explain this? Gigan has nothing like Jet Jaguar, but he has the beam that works, where he can beam it out. And then he has the little, like, shotgun burst thing coming from his eye that can help with, like, little burst damage. And I also think he just has some better, moves if he does get them to hit, He also has that buzzsaw that allows him to move a little bit, like, the aerial buzzsaw, but it's very punishable. So it's kind of a worse version than Jet Jaguars. He also has the teleport, but the teleport's near useless. Which is kind of sad, honestly. But it's near useless, if you ask me, because it doesn't really work that well. It can work, I guess, as like a whiff punish. So I guess, Geiger's more of a whiff punish character. I don't know. Honestly, I am ordering this, but these are interchangeable. Honestly, I'm telling myself that Geigen's worse, but I'm also telling myself that he might be better. I don't know. These are interchangeable. I don't have an opinion, and I don't think I can. These two are the worst. Like, I don't think they're bad enough to do this, but if I had to split this up, they would be in, like, down here if I wanted to split them up, but I'm not going to, because I don't think they're that bad. Maybe in, like, a C negative, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. They're C negative. I'm sorry, I'm doing this in the middle of the video. But yeah, I think they're C negative, honestly. Because they don't have anything compared to these characters. But I don't think they're D tier. I think they're C negative tier. That makes sense. Anyway. So it's not as bad as the D tier where what actually I'm just gonna make a D tier so it's not confusing. No, that's right. just gonna make D tier really quick. I'm sorry. Just so it's not confusing. Okay. But yeah. So I have to put him there, unfortunately. A little bit lower. I'm sorry. I'm doing this in the middle again. But yeah, that looks better. All right. So next up, we have Kiru or Mecha Godzilla 3. If you want to be game Pacific, but we all know it's Kiru. Yeah, so he's a whiff punish character, if you ask me. His moves are really slow, but he has good damage. He has good damage, but I think, his movement makes him better than King Ghidorah. He also has a really good burst range. Like, it has, like a charge, like it takes time, like it's a slower move. Like, it's like he'll charge up for a bit and hit the tail, or he has like that dash where he, puts his head forward to hit you. Not a great move, but you know what I mean. Like, he just has a lot of moves like that. And that's nice, for certain things. It allows him to have that more whiff punish. He also has like that stomp, foot move where he dashes forward with that. You get what I'm saying. But his moves are just so slow that he can't really do anything. Like, honestly, a problem with most of these characters is that how bad their neutral is. Like, B tier, other than like in Gears, but even in Gears to an extent, are characters that can have good damage, but their neutrals are really bad. They're kind of like brawlers. Especially these two. Kiru and King Ghidorah. They're brawlers, but their neutral's really bad. And that's why they're mid tier. Because neutral in this game matters, as in every game. And it can work, but when it's an arena fighter, it's iffy. It's iffy. The last B tier... No, there's two more in B tier, sorry. The next character I'm going to put is Mecha Godzilla 2. Mecha Godzilla 2, I would say, is better than Kiru, sorry. Because his damage output isn't as good, I will say. But he has a way better neutral. And it's not like his damage is necessarily bad. He still has the missiles. They're not as good as Kiru's, but he still has the missiles. He has a grab combo. I definitely think Kiru's damage is better, but, Mecha Godzilla 2, I think just with the laser being so good that shoots out of his chest, that allows people to just back off. And his damage still being, alright. I think just makes him that bit better. I don't think they're that different. Of course they're not, but in my opinion, I think Mechagodzilla 2 is better, but they're interchangeable, I guess, in, like, opinion-wise. Like, if you think Kiru's better, I can see it, but basically, it's up to you, like, which one you think. But I think Mechagodzilla 2 is a bit better. Alright. Next up, let's see. Yeah. Last B tier, I would say, is Baragon. Baragon, he has two things. Two things that make him good. The Flame Breath and his grab. That's it. That may not sound like, oh, you only have two things that are good. Okay. Well, let me put this into perspective. The Flame Breath does good damage. You can do a move, an attack, while doing the Flame Breath because of Acrobat. Well, Acrobat's a different thing, actually, but whatever. Acrobat helps. Which, by the way, Acrobat's pretty good. And then Flame Breath, that's stupid because you could just, I'm gonna hit him, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then you could grab him because his grab is like a pounce where he just, hits you, and it has very long range. if that makes sense. So, not much to say. I've seen this character do well. It's just those two things really define them. But they're so good that I kind of have them put a B tier. And I forgot to rank in 2 other characters. I know, I'm sorry, that are in B tier, because I know I said the last one, but I'm not putting them above there. Now they're going to be below. And those are the Godzillas. I don't know. Yeah, there you go here. Now, 90s is better than 2000 because 2000 is a little bit faster, but less damage. Godzilla 90s is slower, a little more damage. I think that's better because you still have the flame breath to help out neutral a bit more. And also, he has better moves. They're very close though. If you ask me, I know some people will put Godzilla 2000 B tier, and then put Godzilla 90s in A or S. I don't think it's that different. I don't think they're that far off, if you ask me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't got much to say about them. I mean, they have bad disadvantage. That I also forgot to mention. Baragon has the worst disadvantage in the game because his get-up attack is really, really bad. It's the Godzilla's where it's the sweep with the tail, but it's smaller. I don't know why they chose. Let's give Baragon bad, even worse than the Godzillas. But it is, unfortunately, for Baragon. I'm looking at this B tier and I need to cut it down. Yeah, I think the cutoff is here, honestly. I think it looks more like this. Yeah, that looks better. Sorry, I'm doing this, because there's definitely a cutoff here between these two. King Ghidorah and 2000. There's definitely that. Alright. Yeah, I think I'm going to A tier now. Because all these characters are good. All these characters. So the bottom of A tier, in my opinion, is Mecha King Ghidorah. Now, I have seen a lot of people say that, regular Ghidorah is better than Mecha King Ghidorah. Or, there are some opinions where it's about even. I think Mecha's way better because he's a lot faster. He still has really good damage with his double kick and the beams. Just some really good stuff like that. I just don't see a world where it's worse. Where he's worse. He does have a really pulverizing matchup though. I think that his matchup with Destroya is the worst matchup in the game because of how pulverizing it is. I think if you give anyone a controller that knows how to use the beam, not the beam, but the beam sword, the horn katana, knows that move, you are gonna probably win. Because sure, if you shield it, you gain health, but if you don't, you lose a quarter of your health. It's really... I just feel so bad when I see people play that matchup. But, other than that does, hurt him a bit, because like I said, matchups really matter. But I think, as long as you have a tournament path where you don't have to fight a Destroya, I think you should be fine. Because, all the rest of his matchups aren't too bad. He does well against a lot of top tiers. I mean, I guess Orga could also be a bit of a problem, but, no matchup is like Destroya. Space Godzilla might also be a not great one, but whatever. But, yeah. Also, with the, the shield, if you run out of energy, which probably won't happen, but if you do, you're screwed. In basically all matchups except for Mega Gears. you're screwed because they're just gonna beam you. So you gotta definitely make sure you know how to conserve your energy. You do have the thing where you could lose some health for energy, but I don't recommend using that. I think definitely the regular, health for energy is way better from the original Ghidorah. But you do have it if you need it. There's not much to say about him. I just think, he's decent. He has some, confirms, and yeah. Not much to say. I just think he's solid. I think he's solid. Alright, so next up, and this might be also considered a bit of a hot take. I think Orga's A. I don't think Orga's S tier. Orga, to me, has one thing. One thing. And that is the spit. The acid spit. The acid spit is really good. But when you don't have the energy for that, what are you going to do? A lot of people say, oh, he's a grappler. I don't see it, he has the confirm, like do it like his ground pound move or something after his grab. But is that enough? Like, honestly, like the faster characters like Megagearus, like Mogira, can just be outside of his spit range, and then, oh, you're going to spit, and you can move back, and then you don't get hit by the spit. And then you can just attack him. Of course, in those matchups, because, like, especially for Megagearus, frail character can be damaged pretty bad, but, I know also Orga does have an infinite, but you need to get a toe stub, and that's really hard to do, so I don't consider it too much of into account. But yeah, he's definitely a good damage. He's definitely the best, like, brawler character. Oh, no. Second best, sorry. Like, close range brawler character in the game. Like, he, like, definitely the best tankier one. Ish. Well, no, second best tank, actually, sorry. Forgetting about Space Godzilla. I don't know why I'm forgetting things. But, like, he's the second best for those two things, which is kind of sad. But I do think he's very good. But the spit honestly saves him. Because if he didn't have the spit, he would be, like, down here, probably. But, well, higher up, But the spit's just that good. Yeah, I think... Alright. So, there's one other character that I'm conflicted about. That's Mogira. I don't know if Mogira should be A or S. And it's for a reason that I mentioned all the way back when I was talking about Rodan. Mogira can camp. Mogira can go for timeout. Now, I don't know why players don't do this, because sure, you could try to laser Mogira, but Mogira can just run away, get a little bit of energy, go back, even if just stand still. Especially because, I don't know if they changed the rules, if they will, but last year at G-Fest we played in Osaka, so, that's a lot of running room because it's not the boxing ring. Which, if we played on boxing ring, Mogira would probably be the worst character. But we don't. Also, buildings you can just hide behind buildings and everything. I think this character can be a really good camper if you do well. But because a lot of characters have beams, that might make it a little bit harder. But I think it's definitely possible. So I guess I'm gonna do Mogira at top of A. I think this is a very controversial opinion, though. But it's one I have. And it's one I'm not giving up on. I'm holding my ground on it. Alright. We are now in the S tier. These three, to me, are the best. Now, you're probably thinking, I'm going to put Space Godzilla as the best. You are wrong. Space Godzilla is third. Alright, Space Godzilla is broken. Kind of. Very much so. Space Godzilla has the dumbest, stupidest grab I've ever seen in a fighting game, because You could pick them up like 4 times before they even get dropped, and maybe the military saves you. I don't know. If you're lucky, the military saves you. But yeah, you know, that grab is dumb and makes matchups impossible. Some matchups, like I wouldn't even want to attempt regular like Ghidorah versus Space Godzilla or Anguirus versus Space Godzilla. But you're probably asking with the stupid grab that we all know he has if you haven't played this game. And you know, of course, the crystals and being able to shoot some stuff to do a little more damage is all good and all, because he's 1 out of 2 zoners. Well, maybe ish 3, but whatever. Mogira and him are definitely the top zoners, I guess you could say, kind of. With the archetype. But the problem is that if you get in on Space Godzilla, he's screwed. He does have the highest health pool, but the problem is he doesn't have anything really to get you off of him. Because even his grab, is slow. All his moves are slow, so it can definitely be hard to get him off. So it's hard to get in, but once you do, you can. And you could beat him pretty badly. That's why I kind of have to put him 3rd, but he's definitely really good and definitely, I would say, one of the most annoying. Because it's just stupid. Alright, second best is my main Mega Gears. Alright. Here's the thing. I've heard the opinion. Well, not heard, but I've seen the opinions of Mega Gears being bottom low tier character. By because I've looked at the tier list maker and everything. And there's so many people that put her low tier, and I don't get it. Sure, Mega Gears has the worst zoning capabilities in the game, but is the best brawler, best close character. Because the thing is about basically all the other brawlers, a good amount of them, is they're whiff punish characters. They can't really engage. Mega Gears can engage. Her moves, you could dive, like the forward A, I believe it is, the dive move where it hits them. That not only starts a combo, where you can keep them up in the air for all 3 hits with her twirl loop move for like a ladder. But also, you could press the back jump button right after it, and it'll cancel lag. Like, most of her moves are near lagless. Not all of them, but a good amount of them. And the ones that aren't, good amount of them you can, jump back and then lose, that end lag. So her combo starters are near lagless. And also, I would say she's more of a grappler than Orga, because her grab goes into her best, not best, but like her most, well, kind of her best, best damaging combo as of what I know of from my labbing. She can just destroy you, like she's really fast. She has the berserk where she goes all crazy, and then you could probably get infinites off that, if I'm gonna be honest. Probably, or at least maybe not infinites, but near, really hard to get out of at least. Like we gotta figure that more out if you ask me. My thing with Mega Gears, though, is that she's fast, and she has berserk, like I said, all these things, and possibly some of the highest damage in the game. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why people think she's bad. I don't get it. Because the only thing she has is that she has bad zoning, like she has to get in. And her only, really bad, the only weakness she really has is the atomic, which makes these matchups possibly hard. But, you just gotta get in. That's it. The beginning of the game can just be hard, that's it. But once you get in, it's fine. Because you're not gonna really be doing that much. Also, the fireballs are fire, not atomic, which is what she's, weak towards. So I think that's fine. Not terrible, not great, but not terrible matchups. And she actually kind of is a soft counter to Space Godzilla. I mean, the only other character I would say that really does this well is, Mogira, because Mogira is like the anti-meta character. Just counters probably all the top tiers the best, better than everyone, even though they're probably still hard matchups. But anyway, And then of course, stealing the energy is good, especially in matchups like Space Godzilla, like Destroya, like Baragon, where they rely on the energy. And a lot of characters do that, and she counters that. Or she can just steal your health, and that's also just good for reasons I feel like I don't really need to explain. She also can steal your beam, which isn't that great. But it isn't terrible because sure, most characters aren't weak to their, own, the own thing they're shooting out. But it does come out faster and you don't need to charge as much, so it has that trade-off, which is, pretty decent. But I don't use that. But yeah, I think Mega Gear's great character. Alright. Now it's time to go to the best character in the game, which I've never seen anyone... I don't understand why more people have this opinion. I don't think I've ever seen a tier list where anyone has this opinion. There's this argument with fighting games where people ask themselves, what's more important? Advantage state or neutral? My idea of this is they can be hypothetically even, but you don't have advantage state without neutral. So if you don't win neutral, you don't have advantage state. Destroya proves this, because against Destroya, how do you gain advantage state with the orbs? Because you could shoot like 5 orbs at the same time, and then they come, and then when the other ones are still hitting you when you're in lag, when you shield, Destroya can just grab, throw you, start over again. Sure, Destroya doesn't have the greatest damage or the greatest combos, except for, oh yeah, Destroya has a jab infinite. Did I mention that? This character is stupid. You don't even need the Horn Katana. You just need the orbs. The orbs are stupid. Because you could just be put into, if you block it, it just brings you closer to be grabbed. And if you don't block it, you fling across the screen. That is the best move in this game. I think it's better than the grab from Space Godzilla. Because sure, by itself, it's still broken, but it's not great. It's not terrible. But because you can spam how many of them, how do you win neutral if you're not maybe Mecha King Ghidorah can try and shield it and gain health and then force, just try to do possibly different options. But probably not, because you'll still be damaged, or maybe. And maybe, Mogira could try and camp him out, because Destroy is slower. But what else are you gonna do? Nothing, because you can't. Basically, you can't. In almost all situations. And that's why I have to put Destroy as best in the game. Oh yeah. Well, alright, well let's look at this for a minute. Let's top 3 are Destroya, Mega Gears, and Space Godzilla. Then A tier is Mogira, Orga, and Mecha King Ghidorah. Then we have Baragon, Mecha Godzilla 2, Kiru, Godzilla 90s, and Godzilla 2000 in B. In C we have regular Ghidorah, and Gears, Megalon, Mothra, and Rodan, and then in C- we have Gigan and Jet Jaguar. Yeah, I think that's good. This is ordered, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway, complain to me in the comments respectfully. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I crazy? Let me know. Also, thank you for watching, because if you're hearing this, you've watched the video, and I've made my goal of 1 view. 1 view! I'm so happy. So thank you for that. Alright, yeah, so have a good one, everybody, and I'll catch you later.